on the E-way, driving with his niece. Watch down over us, Lord, please. And I heard that dude had everything. In the blink of an eye, lost everything. Stay focused all time, so major. That text you wanna send, do it later. Just do it when you off of the road. It's a phone epidemic, every minute lose another soul. Life pressures more than a text. One chance in life and you won't get a next. System ain't playing, they giving out bids. Think about your future, please think about your kids. Everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, everywhere I drive. It's a phone epidemic. Everywhere I go, everywhere I turn, everywhere I drive. It's a phone epidemic. Driving in sex is a tragedy. It's a phone epidemic. Driving in sex is a tragedy. It's a phone epidemic. Driving in sex is a tragedy.
The life you carry is not your own.
Driving in sex is a tragedy.
In a split second, it can happen to you.
Driving in sex is a tragedy.
Don't do it.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I drive, everybody on the phone. It's a phone epidemic.
Yes, I think it is a jailable offense, and I do believe that we will seek active jail time for it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Driving in sex is a tragedy.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Driving in sex is a tragedy.
Too many consumers hooked to the balls, won't be unsung, won't be overlooked cause of frauds, promoting poison to children. Congress pushing new laws, opening more prisons, they want us to take a fall. Tough, pray for us all, country pushing division, trouble phases at all. A puppet for the system, about to be a bumpy ride. Buckle up when you get in, hood hungry for knowledge, while I'm up in the kitchen preparing food for thought. Sharing Jews was taught, life is about taking risks whether win or lose you fall. Don't be discouraged, learn from your mistakes, be determined. I'm many cues, world full of bishops, be observant. I'm loyal to the ones who deserve it. Believe it, I know you see it. Ones who be the closest be deceivers. The ones who pose as the strongest be the weakest. Only right I explode on this mic, I know they need it. They got the game wrong, promoting nonsense, we sick and tired of the same song. Too much fake it till you make it, well it's something to believe. Last to the true MCs, indeed, this is what they need. They got the game wrong, promoting nonsense, we sick and tired of the same song. Too much fake it till you make it, well it's something to believe. Last to the true MCs, this is what they need. I hear mommy in the back of my dome like sun focus. Ain't got no time for slacking, you grown. With that said, here to capture the throne, hold it for ransom. Revolution is coming, I'm composing an anthem. Liberation is overdue, so I give inspiration while in the vocal booth. Ain't a bit of fake and they know it's truth. Trials and tribulations more than my youth. Been through hell and back, born when the devil is that. That's the pressures of popping weapons and selling crack. Counting my blessings cause I'm destined to prevail from rap. Flow special like disability, gifted with disabilities is NBA Jam and Mortal Kombat trilogy. It comes natural, simply this is what passion do, nothing dramatical. On point and keep it factual. Won't pledge allegiance to demons with racist attitudes. That RBG flag, the only one that gained my gratitude. They got the game wrong, promoting nonsense, we sick and tired of the same song. Too much fake it till you make it, well it's something to believe. Last to the true MCs, indeed, this is what they need. They got the game wrong, promoting nonsense, we sick and tired of the same song. Too much fake it till you make it, well it's something to believe. Last to the true MCs, indeed, this is what they need. Yeah, this is what they need. I said this is what they need. They got the game wrong. Too much fake it till you make it. Say, yeah. It's for the heart. It's from the heart. They knew that from the start.
Wondering what's the use? Do I really want to save the world, or is that another excuse? Probably something I gotta come to terms with. At this point I haven't done a service. They probably love it when I'm uncertain. When I find my purpose I'ma make them nervous. Yeah, I'm in a slump but they never last. Why does life be coming at you hella fast? Crash landing without a hella pad. When I throw the jab I don't telegraph. Nah, I'm about to make them mad. Always on the move, trying to hail a cab. Hope I find the time to be a better dad. Got me thinking should've found a better path. They say I've been doing this and I can switch it up in multiple ways. Hope that it pays. So it can free me from this prison one day. I hope to escape. I I'll be okay. Remember diamond up the loud so I can move a O in a day. Those were the days. Now I'm married to the game, I think it's time to throw the bouquet. Yeah, wonder how I manage with the whole world plus 5 planets on my damn back. Seeds I planted, about to grow up and be gigantic. Yeah, I like too dynamic, but I'm in control, so why panic? Better humble yourself, sit down, cause your ego will be the Titanic, yeah. Some consider me a pessimist, trying to make it to the precipice. I abandoned my apprenticeship with the hopes that I could build some better. Build a business with the benefits, make the money from the penmanship, so my family could inherit it. Can't take it with me at the end of it. Cause nowadays they don't teach the kids how to build wealth. They just tell them go find a job, maybe one day they'll escape hell. One of them resort to hitting licks, getting caught up and can't make bail. One of them probably make Yale, others putting kale on a weight scale. Used to move to work, had to bag tons, coming from a place where they clap guns. All I ever wanted was to have fun, jack of all trades, master at none. Gotta learn something, my mind needs substance. Had to make adjustments so that I could have better judgment. Hang around with 4 broke dudes, you gon' probably be the 5th one. Gather up a bunch of real friends, start developing a system. Keep a lawnmower for the snakes, pay attention to the symptoms. Get the knowledge, then take action, that's how you gain the wisdom. Let's get it. Said I only do this to empower y'all. You ain't tryna get it, play the power ball. Said I only do this to empower y'all. And take away the pain, don't need no Tylenol. Said I only do this to empower y'all. You ain't tryna get it, play the power ball. Said I only do this to empower y'all. And take away the pain, don't need no Tylenol.
Long nights, cold days, ain't no getting out of hand, no way. In the middle of the game and we don't play, but I'ma always make sure that we okay. Sure that we okay. Make sure that we okay, yeah. Read about a life like this, you ain't really in a fight like this. Lost my homie on a night like this, so now I swear that I'ma always make sure that we okay. Sure that we okay, make sure that we okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Part of me let you peep half of my mental. Nah, yo, I can't let them see half what I'm into. It ends with hunger to greed, that just continues. Sometimes though there ain't no more sheep left on the menu. The wolves turn on each other, rather eat with my dogs. A wolf's loyal to nothing, hear him howl from afar. My dogs fight to the end, stand tight and defend. A dog will lay it down if it saves the life of his friend. We too structured, too fuck with. Crew cut from a different cloth. This involves drugs and violence, guns and sirens. Mothers crying, brothers dying, numbers clients coming buying. Hell,
is you high? Is you drunk? Is you stupid? Is you blind? Is you mad? I might lose it. When that cat got your tongue, you be quiet. But right now, you got nerve, I don't like it. Why I lie? Don't talk to me. You're reckless, no, I won't compete. I say lie and talk is cheap. Don't lose your mind, I set you free. I got your love, yeah. Don't be acting like you don't know, you know I got it. I got your love, yeah. Don't be acting like you don't know, you know I got it.
You think I'm used to you spending and all the sweet whining and dining, but who's who tonight? Who's who tonight?
got your love, yeah. Don't be acting like you don't know, you know I got it. I got it, I got it, I got it. I got your love, yeah. Don't be acting like you don't know, you know I got it.
You think I'm used to you spending and all the sweet whining and dining, but who's who tonight? Huh? Huh? Who's who tonight?
Hi, this is Linda Richardson, president of the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation. The Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization and is the owner of the historic Uptown Theater and WJYN 98.5 FM. The restoration of the Uptown Theater into a multimedia tech center needs your help. We are requesting donations to restore the Uptown Theater to preserve R&B history and renovate the theater into a performing arts venue. For more information, call 215-236-1878 or visit philadelphiauptowntheater.org and make an online donation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. I am Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, Barstool Rook, in the Situation Room with Latifius Maximus and the biggest cuz there was. We also have Timothy Welbeck in the Situation Room. Welbeck, right?
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm
correct.
In the building.
Yeah, man. Great guy. Involved in a lot of things. I've been sitting here chopping it up with him about whatever was on my mind, and he's been putting up with it, so I appreciate him already.
It's a good conversation, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, man. It's a rainy day outside, but we dry, so we having a good time. It's a good evening. It's Wednesday. It's between.
Yo, the rain came out of nowhere on me today. I was getting out the gig, and as soon as we hit the clock, it's like, boom!
No, but that's how it go. But you know what? You don't look like you've been rained on at all, brother.
Nah, I was blessed with a ride to my whip because it's far from the shop. You know what I mean? So
don't you look dry?
He got a ride to the car. You see,
right.
He got a ride.
How you get chauffeured to your car?
I don't know, man. You know, the good Lord was shining upon me. You know what I'm saying? So,
man, must
that's
be
the
nice.
next level valet.
Yeah, that is next level.
No, a co-worker went and got his truck, came back to check. Anybody need a ride back to their car?
Wow.
I was like, yo, that's a good
you got a good crew, man. That's what unions do. That's what that union life about?
It's supposed to be tight like that.
You know my man's a master welder.
Oh, man. That's dope.
I do my thing. I got about...
You see the humbleness.
15 years. A lot of...
man, 15 years. That's serious.
A lot of military and, like, nuclear grade stuff I've for the most part.
Oh,
no,
man.
He's done the work. Like, this is what I'm talking about. What they say, 100,000 hours?
Yeah, it's 10,000.
10,000?
He
put in 100.
He probably put in 100 after 15 years. They let you do nuclear grade and military grade. Yeah, you put in the work.
I like it, man. It's another form of art because you're using your hands and you got to see it before it's done.
That's true.
So, you know, it's my brother, my sister's a stylist in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Kira Ashley. You know what I mean? Kira Ashley hair. Look her up on Instagram.
We got to plug her with Plo.
Yo, my sister does hair for women. Like, she did not Angela Bassett.
You talking about Run Daughter?
Lynn Whitfield. She did her hair when she was going on The View. She's been on. Like, she used to cut AJ, the boy from the Love and Hip Hop, and Jocelyn. She used to do their hair.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And, you know, shout out to Chasing Your Dreams because she just went out there and took a chance.
Well, you got to, man.
Yeah,
we're all products of that, and that's crazy because salute to your sister, and that's a great transition into our guest today, Timothy Welbeck.
Yeah,
because we're talking about somebody that jumped out of there many different ways on many different occasions and juggled everything at one time. Because it says attorney.
Yeah, you got a thorough
MC,
list here, good brother.
MC, activist. I mean, writer.
It's a list, yeah.
And it's all simultaneous.
Yeah, all that simultaneous. I'm an attorney, I'm a professor, I'm a writer, I still rap.
Wow.
Husband, father, yeah.
Wow, you got the whole plate.
Yeah, man.
I was about to say my Friday tagline. That sounds like some fly, you know what I mean, to me.
Hey, man, don't get the FCC on y'all, man.
No, we good. I've been in control so far. I think I got it now.
Okay.
No, but let's get into that. Let's get into the progression. What was first, and how did you know what I mean? What was the initial goal? Because I'm sure that everything wasn't your initial. idea.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of the list, rapping started first. I started rapping when I was in high school, to show you how long ago it was.
What high school?
I didn't go to high school in Philadelphia. I went to high school in the Atlanta area. It's called Chattahoochee High School. It's like in a suburb of Atlanta.
What part of Atlanta is that?
It's like it's a suburb called Alpharetta. It's about half an hour north of the city. So
Right.
if you're familiar with the city, people know it now.
I got family in Augusta, so I know about Alpharetta.
My parents are in Augusta, so
Wonderful.
it's about 2 hours from the city.
You're right.
Yeah, so I started
He's
rapping
right.
in high school, and a friend of mine, we went to the mall, and like this is back when Tower Records was still around.
Tower Records,
right. Yeah.
wow.
And we went and bought a single of something that was on the radio, and then we came home and listened to the single, and then the instrumental came on. He said, let's freestyle, and we did a clumsy freestyle, but he liked mine. And so we started a group, and I started rapping. And I just...
Hold on. I got to stop him. Because it's hilarious, because the way I literally started rapping was buying singles.
You get the maxi single, had the instrumental on it.
That's exactly what happened.
We spent entire summer rapping the Funkdafied, and it was something else. But go ahead,
might have been. That
we
might have been
was in different places doing the same thing.
The single we bought because it was around that time, but it feels like that was it. It was something Brad.
If you hip hop, you know what we talk about, man.
Yeah. So and you're exactly right. So the single would go off, then they'd have the radio
$1.99 or something like that.
Yeah, and then something. Sometimes you would get the acapella, but I don't know if the single had the acapella.
Sometimes you would.
Sometimes you
If
would.
you got the
Sometimes
record,
you would get four
if you got the
versions,
wax,
or you would get another song and the instrumental or something else.
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z's Feeling It had
right.
had 22 twos on the other side, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, he's just talking. I didn't know you could just talk. Like at that time, that was talking. Am I wrong?
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
From the progression of Rakim, because Rakim was the first one to really talk.
Yeah. So like.
But yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that in the class, that Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, they changed the way elite rappers rap. Before that, a lot of rapping was...
You can get all the lineage. Everything go back to that tree.
Yeah. Before that, you had people rapping. You had, Busy Bee, Starsky, and Run DMC, and LL Cool J and all that. But a lot of it was chanting. A lot of it was like nursery rhyme type of rhymes. Simplistic A-B rhyme structure, rhyme patterns.
The dress code was very strange.
Yeah.
Let's not act like these kids doing something new. Y'all was wearing spacesuits.
I think the dress code's always been strange because certain people are focusing on getting some type of attention. So if I wear this,
it's part of show.
First of all,
it is a part of showmanship, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly where the history is with hip hop, because hip hop, when it went mainstream, or at least was introduced to the mainstream with Rapper's Delight, this is coming off the heels of disco. And so a lot of rappers, once they got on after Sugar Hill Gang, they were fashioning themselves like disco stars. So it was very flamboyant,
absolutely.
Loud colors, tight pants, wild outfits, wild hairstyles.
And mind you, it's not a thing that we're knocking, because everything we love comes from that.
The culture, that is the culture. That's how it was introduced to the world. That's how it was spread. It reinvigorated the scene at the time. So yeah, we don't knock that. And you're exactly right in that. People, it's like when Jay-Z said, "Don't act like Tupac didn't have a nose ring."
Was the greatest thing he said, as that pertains to what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because we look at I'm talking about people in my age range and older. Will look.
Clearly, we the same age.
Man, we look at the littles and the youngs of the world with their face tattoos and their colorful grills and their wild colored hair, and we'll make judgments on them and make indictments about the culture that's in their hands right now, not realizing that we did similar things to people who came before us, did similar things.
And we took things to such an extreme at one point that what else could they do but go in the opposite direction?
Yeah,
that's true.
Like we wore things so big and so elaborate.
Yeah,
that now
we look like cartoon characters.
That now
they still
want to shine, but they want to be rock stars. And mind you, the funny thing about it is we're late. You know why? Because we're just figuring out that rap, hip-hop has become rock. They already knew it, bro.
Yeah.
And they was acting like that. And they was going to interviews and they were telling people, I'm not a rapper, I'm a rock star.
Yeah.
And people took offense to it. And then you put on a beat that I grew up listening to, not even rapping to, listening to before I was rapping, and expect him to rhyme to it. And that's not fair. And then you look at how they dress, and you know that we're from an internet generation where you could have a best friend in China if you want right now.
Because cats from our generation ain't jumping on their beats either. It's a different type of flow. So if you don't do it, it's going to be foreign. You know what I'm saying?
You weren't going to ask Mace to rap to something that Cool C made.
Yeah.
Even though it might have made sense as a DJ, from a DJ's mind, you think Mace, Cool C, but Mace ain't trying to hear that right now.
Yeah.
And Mace will walk out. So what you gonna play for him to make him want to, one, perform, and two, stay and deal with you and not feel like you're trying to play him? You can't play these kids. Everybody is an artist in this room, daggone it. You know what I mean? We all have things that we stand by, things that we're into, and things that we're great at. You're not gonna go on a national platform and just go left and try something.
Especially when you're exactly right. They had built a following that was committed and trusted and was endeared to the way they were making music. So you're exactly right. And like when you talk about like what happened with Lil Yachty and others, they were not born when Big died. So to ask how you feel about Big, I understand that Big holds a place in our heart, and they should learn Big. They should know who he is. They should learn the craft. But a lot of us are too hard on some of these kids.
Yeah, because at the same time, when you put out somebody like Lil Yachty that caught a lot of flack early, he was a child that was brand new to the industry. If you let him do a year worth of touring and being on buses and stuff, or maybe an extra year, I should say, he may have had to go through that discography by then, because we all know what touring consists of. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things you opened up to. You meet a lot of different people, and you're in different environments, and you're on the bus all day.
All day.
All day. You're on the plane all day. Like, this is what you're traveling. So you got to give people, it's not that, the thing was that they didn't give him an opportunity to learn. If he'd have said he wasn't interested, he could care less or whatever, as a seasoned person, then you could judge him on that. As a kid that's into what he's into, that probably came up off of Kanye and Lil B, and you know what I mean, people like that, you can't really judge them because you didn't like Lil B.
Well, the thing is, a lot of cats got old and they don't want to admit it. Like, no, you saying old man comments right now. Like, you're not, you can still embrace it and just understand that theirs is different than what we got. That's always the stance I took, because I shouldn't be that into the words of a 21-year-old. Because I'm not 21. But that don't mean that what he's doing is wrong or that he's weird. Like, it's just different.
And you know what's funny about
that's a great way to look at it.
You know what's funny about this conversation, because I've actually been having it for a while, and I hate to say the example that I used to use. It was Soulja Boy when he had all the dance records before he became a gangster. When he was Superman and everything. And people was hating and saying he was ruining hip-hop. And Ice-T had his son beefing with him. And I'm like, if Ice-T was a boss, he would find a way to garner that young boy energy and work this internet to get that exposure for his son. And he could make money with this kid. But what I used to tell people as an example was, do you want your kids to listen to Styles P all day?
That's true.
As much as I love Styles as an MC, you know what I mean? And I used to use him as an example because in the hood, you got to talk to people about who they listen to. Do you want your kids to listen to Styles all day? Or do you want them to do the, hey, you know what I mean?
And
like, it's not for you.
And to your point about Ice-T and Soulja Boy, if Ice-T is a real OG, like he likes to fancy himself, he should have put his arm around Soulja Boy, embraced him, and said, listen, you got a voice of the young people. You found a way to rise from obscurity. Let me show you what I did. I went through the same thing 2 decades ago. Let me show you what I did. Let me show you the game. I've transitioned to something else. Let me teach you how to build streams.
Because the transition is the whole thing.
Yeah, because that's what he should have done. Showed him that this thing will fade. Find something else to leverage your influence and build streams of income, take care of your family, and find a way to build something else. That's what Ice-T should have done.
That's what I was saying the same thing that he's saying. You know what I mean? And that was before all of the funny hair and all of the tattooed faces. It was a kid that scared everybody, and everybody thought he was so big that he was going to affect the genre in a way. Another thing that we don't account for is how young the genre is.
Very young. It's the youngest.
The reason that
45 years old.
We think that once you over 25 in hip hop, you old because we've never saw.
It never got that far before.
Now Jay-Z is pushing it every time he puts out a project because you see it's gracefully done. The same way that you've seen it in rock. The same way that you've seen it in blues.
You still have fans that are gonna like the type because the older cats.
U2 is never going to stop performing.
I don't listen to 80s. I know 80s hip hop.
Right.
But I'm not throwing that on. I'm listening to 90s hip hop.
Right.
Because that's what I did.
That's your,
that was a certain.
That's your speed.
And it's always whatever was in your teenage and your 20s.
Those formative years
That's usually
for you.
the music you love for the rest of your life, no matter what genre it is.
That's true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because you're not
that's
working
when
and
all
whatnot.
Your
you have time to listen to music and go to parties more.
And have expendable cash.
Yeah.
You're building some autonomy. You're developing your tastes and preferences. You're building a life for yourself. You're entering into adulthood, and that's
romance.
The soundtrack for that. Absolutely.
And that's what's crazy too. Great thing you just said about soundtrack. And we'll get back to that in a second. Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. I am Sam Malone, Barstool Rook, Simple with Sammy. That is Tifius Maximus, and we are in the building with Timothy Welbeck, and Big Cuz is somewhere around doing what it was. We'll be back in a second.
Hi, this is Linda Richardson, president of the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation. The Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization and is the owner of the historic Uptown Theater and WJYN 98.5 FM. The restoration of the Uptown Theater into a multimedia tech center needs your help. We are requesting donations to restore the Uptown Theater to preserve R&B history and renovate the theater into a performing arts venue. For more information, call 215-236-1878 or visit PhiladelphiaUptownTheater.org and make an online donation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. I am Sipping with Sammy. As Big Cuz just told you, I'm still in here with Teef. I'm still in here with Cuz, and we still have Timothy Welbeck.
Yeah, I'm in here.
And the conversation was heating up, and right before the break, Timothy alluded to something that I actually love to discuss, which is what musical projects, albums, not necessarily albums, but just projects, maybe it's a live project, are the soundtrack to your life.
Right now?
Have been over the time. Like,
oh, wow.
Give 3 to 5.
So projects?
And I mean any genre.
It might be easier to say artists.
Artists is fine too.
Yeah, okay. So
that works.
When I first started listening to music, I was listening to my parents' music. So I was listening to Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, Michael Jackson, Bob Marley, Booker T and the MGs, Otis Redding.
That's a great list.
That's what I was listening to. My parents gave me a great introduction to what music should be, what music sounds like.
And it's eclectic.
It was. My father's from Ghana. My mom's from Memphis. And so...
that's why you got 5 jobs.
Yeah, so...
That's why you got 5 jobs.
Yeah, man, I do have like 5 jobs. I mean, that is probably part of it. But that was, early on, that was my soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And especially with hip-hop. My parents' introduction to hip-hop came from 2 Live Crew. And so my parents said, if this is what hip-hop is, you can't listen to it. And so
yeah, that was a little wild. That's a little wild start off.
I was to say that was the intro.
Yeah, so when the controversy for 2 Live Crew's Nastiest I Wanna Be was going to federal court, my mom asked the co-workers,
legendary court case. We all owe Luke for that.
Yeah, we do.
That's why you're a lawyer now. Go ahead.
So my mom asked the co-workers, is it that bad? And the co-worker brought a cassette the next day, and my mom listened to it on her lunch break, and that's when she came on and said, if this is what hip-hop is, Timothy and Catherine, that's my little sister, they can't listen to this. And so it wasn't until I became a teenager that they gave me some autonomy and said, you can listen to some of what you pick. And around that time, my cousin and then a good friend of mine introduced me to hip-hop. And so this is somewhere between 95 and 96. So Pac and Big are still alive, doing their thing. The Fugees are rising.
This is what they call the golden era of hip hop.
It absolutely was. Dart Adams says it's the second golden era.
That's arguable.
For me, it was the golden era, but I understand why Dart says what he says. But yeah, I was listening to Outkast, Fugees, Jay.
You was about to
Pac.
say Outkast, Equimini.
That's my favorite.
Because Equimini is a great Outkast album.
My favorite Outkast albums is AT Aliens, but Equimini is excellent.
Yeah, I love AT Aliens also.
Yeah, The Roots. Yeah, so I was listening to a lot of that. So
where were you at this time as a teenager?
I'm still in Atlanta. We moved to Atlanta, the Atlanta area when I was 9. So I'm listening to basically like classics of soul, R&B.
But you caught the roots. That's what made me ask.
Oh, so what it was, I was a big because I listened to my parents' music. I was a huge fan of musicianship. So I needed to hear something that was compelling to the ear, and then I love words, and so they were the perfect combination. Black Thought is one of the greatest lyricists ever, and then the Roots are just putting together these exquisite compositions. So for me, it was a perfect marriage of music for me. So even though the Roots didn't get the shine that they should, they got enough national airplay that we would see them in Atlanta, especially around Philadelphia Half-Life. We started to see some of their videos every now and again.
Back then, Tariq's brother used to be on my block. So we had promo copies of their albums. Promo use only pups. Remember them?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Specifically, Philadelphia Half-Life was one of them.
Yeah, for y'all to have been here when that was happening.
Yeah, but that's dope. So we started out talking about your progression. So let's get back to that.
Okay.
You said you started with the hip hop.
Yeah, so I started rapping and basically never stopped. So I rapped through high school, rapped through college, and then before I got to college, my parents asked me, what do you want to be when you go to college? What do you want to major in? And I said I want to do art because I do visual arts as well.
Okay.
And my mom said, I'm not paying for you to go to college for you to draw. You can do that on your free time. And so
wasn't having it.
Yeah, so she said pick something else. Yeah. And so my dad said, I think you'll be a good lawyer. And this is right before my senior year of high school, and we had a mock trial class. So I took the mock trial class. I did really well in that. And the teacher said, you should consider law school. So I went to undergrad. I majored in political science, minored in pre-law, and then I basically went to law school after. I worked for a nonprofit immediately after I graduated for 2 years. I worked for an educational nonprofit, and then I came up here for law school. That's how I got to Philadelphia.
And you rapping the whole time?
I'm rapping the whole time.
All right.
So this is still like before social media really takes off. So I didn't really have a presence on social media, and I didn't really have much of a web presence. So it's basically like me just doing shows 2-3 times a week in the Atlanta area, trying to record stuff, pass it around, things like that. So I did that. And what prompted the activism within me, so my mother lived in Memphis when King was killed. So she just has a vivid memory of the struggle of the movement.
Absolutely.
In real time. So I used to come up hearing their stories. And then for me, I personally saw it up front on a first-hand basis. My freshman year of undergrad, I was volunteering at a school near Morehouse.
Undergrad at Morehouse.
Yeah, I went to Morehouse. And so I'm volunteering at a school nearby, and I get there, and I'm volunteering in the classroom, and the teacher says, listen, I got all the kids. I can manage them. If you can take care of this kid, and she points to this kid in the back. She said, if you can handle him and just keep him occupied, I can do everything else. And so I said, I can do that. So she gave me a worksheet. I go to talk to him, and they were talking about cell division. So he and I sat down. We talked about cell division. He seemed to understand it, and I said, okay, well, write your name on this piece of paper. Let's do your worksheet. And he spelled his name really slowly, and then he said, I just last spell last week. And I said, what did you just say? And he said, I just last spell last week. And I said, did you just say you learned how to spell your name last week? And he said, yeah. And so,
wow,
so
that's deep.
Yeah,
and how old was he?
He was 15.
I just had a similar conversation on the way down here.
It blew my mind because, so after the class was over, I talked to the teacher about him. That's when I learned he was 15 in the 6th grade. And I went to a school in the same county of the same state, but because I was in an affluent white suburb, I got a great education.
Right.
And here I am going to a school where students at my school are expected to compete from students from his school, and he has fallen through the cracks, and the system has failed him at every hand. So I said, I have to do something.
Yeah.
And so I kept volunteering. He dropped out soon after I met him, so I never really saw him again. But I made a commitment to myself that I would do what I could to to benefit others, particularly our community. And so that's what started my activism kick. And I started a mentoring program with a good friend of mine, and he's now a civil rights attorney too. And then from there, I just always had this mindset. I mean, much of it was ingrained in me as a child, just the idea that to whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
And so I was blessed with great opportunities, both with my education and with my parents being present and all of that. And so I knew that I had a lot to give. And so basically just I had interest in multiple different places. So I'm rapping, I'm in undergrad, I'm mentoring, I'm tutoring, doing all of that. And then I started working for this educational nonprofit. I did that for 2 years. And then I came to law school. I went to Villanova for law school. And that's what got me to Philadelphia. And so, and when I got here, I was thinking, should I keep rapping? I wasn't sure about it because, you know, there's this elitism in the law, and there's this idea that, okay, you're a professional now, you should put away some of these things and wholly focus your attention on the law and put away these other ancillary concerns. And so,
but they're in rock bands on the weekend.
So I love the culture too much, and
I'm just saying, my bad.
I couldn't suppress who I was.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't let
you shouldn't
that
have to.
die, and that's how I felt. And so I just basically I kept rapping while in law school, just not nearly at the same pace, but I kept rapping in law school,
recording.
Yeah,
putting music out.
I'm real slow with putting out music.
I got a question for you real quick. How is it? Did you notice as you were studying certain things, you're in a certain mental space, did your rhymes change, grow?
Great question.
Somebody asked me that when I got to law school, and I didn't notice it at first, but when he asked me that, what I noticed was that I had become more concise, and I had become more analytical. I always had that bent to kind of go in that direction, but I realized that I would do that, and then I was also more prone to reference other things too.
So your training benefited your rhymes.
It absolutely did. So my first album, I put that out in 2005, and I was focused on songwriting and following industry formats, 16/8, 16/8. I was really focused on that. So I knew how to be concise, but my legal training forced me to encounter even larger ideas and to go deeper. And then it also pushed me to just to understand that I don't know everything, if that makes sense. Because when you're young, especially when you think you got a head full of ideas, you think you know everything.
Especially in hip hop, you're supposed to act like you do anyway.
You're supposed to have an opinion. You're supposed to what you say is black and white. You're supposed to be the best that ever did it.
Yeah.
And so being a law student and going through law school and just learning new material and having to grapple with that, it forced me to understand I don't know everything, and there are shades of gray in between these black and white things that I think I know. And so I would say that's how it changed.
I'm just thinking because when you're in different environment, your mind's going to be on different things. Therefore, you're going to speak about different things. And we were talking last week about how much you let of yourself into your music and things like that. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got personal last week.
Okay.
Yeah, but me and him are the same thing where we stay in a certain pocket. It's not I want to say that. We don't tell everything about ourselves personally.
I understand.
Me and him agreed on that fact.
I'll
tell you something, I'll make it poetic.
Yeah.
I'll make it funny, I'll make it fun, but I'm not telling you about me specifically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I asked you that question. That's a different kind of thing, but that's why I asked you that question, because what you're around, I feel like influences what you want, why you want to write it, what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? If you go to a good party, you might want to write I wrote a song about 3 parties I've been to, and they're it's a true story.
Yeah.
I just flipped it into rhyme form. So that was type of influence. And then, I've read a book and then wrote something different. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it opened my mind up and it put me in that space. So that's why I asked you that question.
And for me, I've had a lot of party records, and it wasn't intentional. It's because I am Barstool. I be at parties. It's easy for me to hear a beat and talk about exactly what I did from the parking lot to the exit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something that's conducive to that environment too. That makes a lot of sense.
It's so simple for me, and that's where I'm being. That's what I'm used to. But it's funny because that brings up another thing that I'm interested in. Has your music ever came up in the law area? Has anybody ever said, you MC such and such?
Oh, yeah, so...
I saw your video.
I'm not famous enough
My
for that
brother
to happen
know you.
regularly, but that happens every now and again. Now that
when you're in a professional realm,
people every now and again people say, "Yeah, I've seen you somewhere before," and so that
so
happens.
they were out getting a drink, and you might have been at the spot rocking it.
That's happened.
Don't he work at the office?
That's happened a few times, and every semester my students figure out I rap, and so what ends up happening is one of them is either taking me before and know I rap and will ask me to rap, or someone's heard that I rap, or sometimes they'll Google me or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So usually one of those things will happen. So like whenever it happens, they'll ask me to rap, and so I was like, okay, let's do it. And so, so if someone else in the class raps, I'll say, come up, let's do it together. We'll do a cipher. I'll let you pick a beat. You can pick anything on the internet. We got internet access, so we'll pull up a beat on YouTube.
On campus.
Yeah, so.
But after that, the respect level is crazy.
It's
because you went with whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, and
it ain't like y'all gotta listen to me hip hop hippie. No, we rock what y'all want to do. That's a different level.
Yeah, and that I do it that way on purpose. I mean, I could very easily make the class about me and my material, and we listen to my discography, but I think that's a terrible way to teach the class, particularly because the culture is so vibrant and so diverse, and so it has so many contributors to it. It would do them a disservice to only focus on me. So what I tell them is, if the class were a book, the songs we listen to are like the pictures. They illustrate the concepts. So I often like to pick stuff that they're familiar with to illustrate the ideas. And then from there, what we do is, when they find out we rap, I said, okay, let's do this. Like, you see that we've talked about it. I've showed you I have an understanding of it. I'm a scholar in this, but I'm a practitioner too, so we can get busy on the mic.
I'm a practitioner too. Most slept on professor and attorney. And this is Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. And we'll be right back at y'all in a minute with more from Timothy Welbeck.
Hi, this is Linda Richardson, president of the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation. The Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization and is the owner of the historic Uptown Theater and WJYN 98.5 FM. The restoration of the Uptown Theater into a multimedia tech center needs your help. We are requesting donations to restore the Uptown Theater to preserve R&B history and renovate the theater into a performing arts venue. For more information, call 215-236-1878 or visit PhiladelphiaUptownTheater.org and make an online donation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
These things
Feel as a king, feel as a peasant. I'm linked to my past, future and present. Mind clouded as an embers, darker than a Guinness. Odds against me from the start to the finish. Never do I end it, current out the window with a descent so gentle, suicide tempo. Do you understand now how we are blended? The morning and the evening, you must be friended to make it so kindred. You will bend it, and those that can't, unfortunately, end it.
One.
You know how to fly this thing? A little late to ask that question, isn't it? That's all right. Yeah, be better.
My name is Steven. I put it on my shirt, I represent tonight. I'm born in Salisbury, Maryland, like Eric Camper. Shout out, look up in my line. Look up, Reggie B photography line. I'm shouting out my people in the building. Six City chillin', I mean, Slim City chillin' in the Slick City. I mean, we call it Philly, I'm from Jersey, from the borough of the wilderness, from the borough. Always been a thorough. Gotta do my thing. Used to play the sax, and I got older, started getting sex in the sack. Started doing that, then I slipped off the instrument, but I be on that. I be on that. When you run the right front, nah, and never that. Could've swore, seen that like 38 times. 5,000 words on my mind when I'm counting. Double that time, saying we be pushing this man, multiply by 20. When it comes to getting money, tone it down, turn it down. When I'm talking to her honey, she knows what she wants already. Fun, funny. Beer's got a beer, and it's clear. Love out the beer, fans asking for a plate and a beer. I watch the whole thing from the top. Come down all for the night with the wop. Ready to get me in the moment, so stop. Better make it better when the omelet's hot. E1 beats when I eat, getting guap. Stage gets played when the anger need to stop. When I order nachos and a little guap. I belly end up my can, should all be with it, man. Nigga play a little man, so the song's happening. Do a little overtime, write another rap again. Back up on my stage, that's about that rap again. Gotta do it from the heart every time we step in it. Give it up for the band, cause the band be jamming. People come out up here just performing with their back turning. Let them say what's up, and your keyboard is coming. Everybody give them some. My name is T, and that's my piece. I'm about to close it out, keep the show moving. LATEF.bandcamp.com if you wanna look it up and stuff. Or just T-E-F. Look me up, see what's written. Fresh. Hey yo, I hope you have a good night. And shout to all the ladies sitting here looking right
eye. Fire! Check me out, I'm back crashing in. Rolling splits from my verbs and my adjectives. A massive grin. Cognac I splash with friends. Whiskey with associates. Moments make the most of them. Putting more life into this master plan. I speak and span across land, do math again. Shout to Rich Quick, he made it to Amsterdam. And Grand Boober Brown hitting London, man. I laugh when other cats rap rack, my friend. They must have never heard about balancing. Carry laundry on my head like an African. Wait a minute, ain't I African? That be the Knievels, it be all lethal. Venom, I'm the antidote. Got a out-of-pocket flow, quiet in the cut, so most of the time y'all would never know. We check the schedule, you see me, had to let them know. Nice like Geppetto, but they gave me on the pedestals. I'm old school, breaking bricks, extra levels, bro. In the mix with my chicks, looking special, yo. They wonder if I hit it, but I never let them know. Don't tell them yes, don't tell them no. Mind your biz while you in my cave picking cold. Dig and go. In my biz, digging for dough. Flow. Yo, 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 yo,
public speaker and peaceful like Mr. Caesar. But don't get out of line. Don't get out of line. I'm trying to have the best intentions in the right way. But outcome of my old ways, bold and wise, I might say. Nigga in the reefer make the night straight. I'm from the 609. I'm from the 609. That's why I gotta see some bright days. That's why I gotta see some bright days. Can we go? Can we go? Go fly high, fly high. Fly high, fly high, fly high.
Talk to them alone, talk to them. Yeah. See, life goes in phases. The ball keeps rolling. And even though the game fucked off, I keep strolling. Facebook posting, east to west coasting. Pop another one of these Molly, so I'm floating. Catch me on a fishing boat, champagne toasting. Reef your mommy, asking me to rub her down with lotion. Can't make gains if you move in slow motion. This notion that I'm done is what y'all in art was hoping. Been on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me. It is what it is, and what it is what it's gonna be. And y'all been on some crush shit, I guess that comes naturally. But I be on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me.
Groove set, fall back, ain't vicious. Sam Malone, that boy known on park benches. Bar stools, trenches, up and down 9-5. Life been hectic, so I feel tank and drive. Hot plane, swap mind frame, flip flop Jane. Off the time, man, for this time frame, it's mine, man. Couple nods and dips, but after trip, it's grind, man. So I twist the ting of palm tree and breathe.
Been on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me. It is what it is, and what it is what it's gonna be. And y'all been on some crush shit, I guess that comes naturally. But I be on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me.
So what's it gonna be? Let's talk about it, like.
I guess tonight's the night to do it if we gonna do it.
I mean, let's move then, cause I ain't really with the nut shit, you know what I'm saying?
Solid. It is what it is. Been on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me. It is what it is, and what it is what it's gonna be. Y'all been on some crush shit, I guess that comes naturally. But I be on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me. Been on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me. It is what it is, and what it is what it's gonna be. And y'all been on some crush shit, I guess that comes naturally. But I be on my G-shoe, y'all niggas ain't working with me.
The ultimate television, to the hottest thing I talk, the hottest thing I walk, the hottest thing I move on the streets, eh? No one can touch this. Talk to them, we're done, we kill everything we see. Murderation, we kill everything we see. See it? Yeah.
Life ain't a better dandelions, more like hand in hand with an angry lion. Steady grinding, losing track of time, and now I'm feeling stranded on abandoned islands. From the streets where they prone to violence, don't say a word, that's the code of silence. Violate that, you gotta stay strapped, 'cause now they on your top like a wave cap. I try to not try to win, guess I don't meet the requirements. But Aaliyah said if you don't succeed, you gotta dust it off and just try again. Gotta watch who you inviting in, it's time to draw the line so it's mighty thin. Be aware of your environment, that's a lot of snakes and Leviathan, yeah. Keep them at arm's reach, I'm with the Pesci's out in Palm Beach. Wouldn't even make a long speech, got your feet up in the concrete. A lot of wanna fill my shoes, but the fact remains that they can't fit. I pay my dues, had to bend the rules, got it popping out of flame lit, yeah. I got the fuego, yeah. I got the fuego, fire. Behaving, but mami lo quiero. I got the fuego, yeah. I got the fuego, fire. Behaving, but I got the fuego. Meet up in there, see, no, I'm right at your cuello. I am so high that I'm touching the cielo. Behaving, but mami lo quiero. I be walking como no tengo miedo. Papi no juego, ahí yo lo dejo. All of these mommies ain't none of them fail. I'm just getting to it, no you're no better. Flame lit, homie, I ain't stopping. Making it out was the only option. Word to Poppy Collins, had to get it poppin'. Stacking comments, we ain't got a thing in common. I'm just steady climbing. Why they always wanting? And watch you make a diamond out of rhyming, that's my main assignment. Never lose focus, then you on the dopest. If it ain't broken, why even provoke it? Remember the times I was really the brokest, putting in work on the nights with the coldest. I was on the scene and still wasn't noticed. I was about to quit and still wouldn't show it. Had to show 'em I am really devoted. Putting the work in and I got promoted, yeah, I got the fuego. Yeah, I got the fuego. Fire. Behaving, but mami lo quiero. I got the fuego. Yeah, I got the fuego. Behaving, but yeah, I got the fuego. Fire.
You're listening to community radio at its best. Uptown Radio, WJYN, 98.5 FM, serving Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The opinions of this program are not the opinions of the station management or the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
What's going on with y'all, man? Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. Quick shout out to Poe in the background, guzzling the water, man.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? He's the best meme of the week. If you ain't seen it, he went viral yesterday, man, on the Glockaware app memes. But we still situated, and we still got Timothy Welbeck in the situation.
Yo, that was wild, yo. I seen that.
You saw it, right? I'm gonna show Tim so he know I ain't tripping.
I gotta see I completely missed
He
all
made
that.
it. That's the funniest thing about
he made that
He
joke?
made the meme. Like, the boy got the best personality in the world, man. Y'all don't even know it.
That's
man.
really funny.
It's at
But it's-
Flyboy Radio.
He's got to get his 12
Instagram,
words
Yeah,
in.
and Flyboy
And
Radio.
Flyboy Radio.
Man.
Go
Check
to
my guy
Flyboy.
out, man. He got talents where he ain't even been able to showcase yet, but that was hilarious. I hope it y'all lows. But we still got Tim Welbeck in the building, man.
In the building.
Definitely, man. Been great having you so far. The
Man, it's
conversation
been great to be
was
here.
wonderful, man. But when you say you gave us your reasoning behind getting into activism,
Yeah.
Once you got into activism as a law student at the time or as an attorney?
So I started even before that. I started in undergrad with just volunteering, mentoring, tutoring, stuff like that. Oh, this is the meme right here. Oh wow, that's wild. Yeah, but my start started then.
He won last day, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I started then just as a means in which the things and the systematic problems, the structural imbalances that I had heard about for much of my life, I was able to see them firsthand and see how they impacted real people. So I could see how this statistic, Cedric, was a name, was a face, was a man who had been deprived opportunities, and so I wanted to make sure that things like that weren't happening anymore. And that's even part of why I went to law school, because I wanted to have a broader impact. And so at the time I was thinking I would do something towards policy, and so that was my initial goal. At least that's what got my mind towards thinking about law school, and so here I am now.
So when it comes to getting into activism, because there's levels to activism.
There is.
What was your entry point exactly? How did you go about? What was the point when you realized I'm doing activist work, or you were being recognized for activist work? Like, because we all do things, but it's a certain threshold that you break to when you become really. Involved.
I don't know if you would hope people don't do it for attention and for the accolades and things of that nature. I would say that there came a point in Atlanta where people knew who I was. And people knew who I was because they could see me out in the streets doing things, so to speak. So if you were passionate about education, if you were passionate about working with young people, you would run into similar circles with people. You would be at the same events. You'd be at the same schools.
I tell people this every week.
You gotta stay out there.
People say, I want to start a nonprofit. Well, go help somebody with a nonprofit and go to some events.
That's exactly how you should get started.
And be around people that's already doing it.
There are people already doing the work.
At least you know what's necessary and what's possible, and you know who to reach out to when you're trying to do certain things.
Yeah, before I started my mentoring program with my colleague, we had both been mentoring, tutoring, and volunteering, finding ways to insert ourselves for 2.5-3 years.
Through other people's programs and through
Absolutely. I'm working with other people's programs 20-30 hours a week. I'm still a full-time student, but finding time during the week, finding time on the weekends.
And time is one of our most valuable assets. So it's not anything to be looked down on. 20-30 hours a week while being a student and while having to maintain a lifestyle is a lot.
Yeah, it was a commitment, but it was something that I was passionate about, something that I wanted to see happen. And so when we started our mentoring program, we were working with adjudicated youth. So we would literally go to a jail in East Point, Atlanta, and pick up kids on a Saturday morning and work with them. And we did that for a few weeks. And then when some of them got out of their program, that it was a diversionary program that was held at a police station, so it wasn't a jail, but we were literally going there and meeting the kids there, and we started the program there, and then we started bringing them to the campus because we thought it would be good for them to see a college campus, so we started doing that. And so I would say that period for me, that's 2000 to 2003. That period for me, I think, cemented just me getting a foothold in this and saying this is something that I'm going to factor into the rest of my life.
Right. And so, people noticed it.
And people began noticing it. I was a part of a service scholarship program at Morehouse, so I was already in tune with the network and things like that. But people began noticing it then. And my first time in Philadelphia, I got flown here to be a part of a conference called the Campus Opportunity Outreach League Conference. It was different organizations that do community service and activism. And they have a conference every year with college students from around the country, and they give them workshops to better inform how they're doing what they're doing. And so my service director at Morehouse saw me rapping at an AIDS rally. She said, "You can really rap." And they're looking for a student to participate in this conference. If we send you, will you go? And I said, "Sure, I'll go." Like, y'all gonna send me? That's a plane ticket, and y'all put me in a hotel.
Free vacation.
And I actually met my wife at that conference. So I came up here. Yeah. So
things come from every direction.
Yeah.
Man.
So it was a beautiful thing. So I was supposed to rap at the opening ceremony, but I said I'm going to actually go to the conference. I'll attend the workshops because it's insightful information. So you have to do
you were an MC and a student. You didn't want to just go as an MC. You put both hats on.
That's exactly what I did. And so they had different tracks. So you could do I forgot all the tracks that they had, but I took the faith and service track. And so all of my workshops were based on that track, and my wife picked the same track. And so we were in the first workshop together, and so it's a room full of people, and one of the organizers comes in and says, "Your presenter's going to be late. Why don't you all mingle and introduce yourselves?" And your presenter will be here shortly. And so we all went around the room and said our names, and she had just read my name in the program booklet. And so she's like, oh, Timothy Welbeck, he's going to give a spirited performance. That's what it said. And so she's like, okay, is he going to sing, or what's he going to do? And then I said my name, and I didn't look anything like she imagined I would look. And so
she thought like, you was out. Be sure.
She thought I was gonna. No, she thought I was gonna be like. She thought I was gonna be like Luther Vandross, and like she thought I was gonna be big and heavy and singing and stuff. Woo woo woo.
Because I'm sure y'all have discussed this in depth.
Oh yeah, man, we tell the story all the time. And so and she had friends at Morehouse, so she came. So she came and introduced herself, and so we got to talking, and we realized that we had volunteered for similar programs because she went to high school in Atlanta. Her mom lived 10 minutes from where I grew up. We had mutual friends that had never met. So we we got this connection, and a lot of it was through we both were committed to service and being a part of the community and serving the community.
If you weren't about it, you wouldn't have met.
Yeah, man. So and so all of that came together, like the fact that I was rapping, the fact that I was a part of the service organization, and then that got me here.
Did she enjoy your performance? Was she there?
She did actually.
Was that part of the wooing? Is that how you wooed that?
I mean, at that point we had been kicking it all day because we had every workshop together. So we'd already done like 3 or 4 workshops together, and like we were sitting next to each other and talking a lot.
So you had her bio, she had your bio.
Yeah. So but then like
he had that all day game.
Hey man.
But you know what I'm saying?
When it's situational, when you ain't gotta force it, you just gotta go with it.
That's what I say. Games are for children and professional athletes.
You just gotta go with it.
I told my wife the truth, and man, we were just like, and
you didn't go to the conference looking for love.
Yeah, we forged a real connection, and then ironically enough, though, that night when I did the show in the opening ceremony, that was like my first like people trying to get at me on a groupie tip like situation because like
he was winning. Hold up.
So it was wild to me. I was like, this is how famous people. This is how it is for you all the time. So like, I get off the stage and everything, and then afterwards they had these little socials.
He's been there before.
And then people come up to me like random women are coming up to me. Oh, I love what you did. Like that was so beautiful, so powerful. You know, like I'm staying in a hotel.
That wasn't nothing but the devil trying to take you away from your wife.
Man, that's exactly what it was. I left all of them women alone.
Came out the woodwork.
I said, yeah, they're like, you know, my hotel is across the street. You know, I'm in this room. Like 2 or 3 women said that to you.
Oh, they was throwing it.
Yeah,
they was giving out keys.
No, they weren't giving out keys.
I got the keys. Oh.
But no, I just shook hands and said thank you. That was very nice of you, and left it at that because you know I wasn't trying to.
And you was already marinating something.
And beyond that, I didn't come for that purpose. And so like
I want to ask you, did you put it down extra because you were talking to your future wife that day? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Let's talk about
go
the
extra
marination.
hard when you got on the stage because she was there? Like you've been kicking it with her all day. Like
I mean,
all right, like let me make sure I'm precise.
Yeah, you might have gave your Prince performance that night.
I mean, in hindsight, I might have, but that wasn't on my mind at the time. I mean, at the time, I was like, you know, this is one of the biggest stages I've ever been on. It was the first time.
So you were straight like show mode, like okay, this is a new level right here.
Yeah, because this was the first time someone had flown me to another city. I'd gone to other cities, but like they flew me
different level.
So you're like, all right, I got to do my thing.
It's a few thousand people in this room. Like I'd never been on a stage that big before at that point.
Okay. Did you ever suffer from any form of performance anxiety?
I think that
as far as on stage,
if you don't get nervous at least before you get on stage, I think you're too full of yourself. I think there's a natural set of nerves that's set in before you get on stage. Like even like Beyonce's and Jay-Z.
That's why everybody has their regiments.
Yeah, because you have to get focused. So like for me, I'm always nervous until like I step on stage and touch the mic. Once I touch the mic, something shifts in me.
Like it's on now.
It's on now. But even before that, like I try to take some time before I step on stage and have some time to myself. Even if it's just 5 minutes. Just to clear my mind.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, pray and just like get in because like you have to be focused. And so like generally once I'm starting, I don't suffer from stage fright.
Right.
But it's those initial moments like right before. And then,
but that's excitement, that's anxiety,
all of that.
There's been a couple times I got way more nervous than I thought I was gonna be in situations that were very familiar. Like it was people I performed in front of before. I had a show in Trenton. It was like that. It was an outdoor event. I performed outside before. Like I know at least 30% of the people in the crowd. I know people. Somebody's gonna come to the front. But right before I went on, I couldn't get it together, man. I don't know why. I was like, yo, why do I feel like this? You know what I'm saying? So That's happened to me a couple times. I was like, yeah, I'm good. I know all my songs. I'm straight. And then.
But this is why I ask people that, like you guys that have performed on different levels and in front of large groups of people, because people don't understand that to a certain extent it's normal.
Yeah.
To a certain extent it's expected. You know what I mean? To a certain level, like I don't know if a lot of people know, but Brandy pigeonholed a lot of her career early on because she suffered from stage fright.
Oh, really?
Even up until the point where what was the song? Not Ladies Night. The song that all the women were on, that she was on.
Oh yeah, I Want to Be Down remix.
Yeah, she never would go tour and do those shows and stuff, and it was a big deal for a long time.
Oh,
but
wow.
It was a thing that she was able to actually be coddled in because she had TV shows and stuff.
Yeah, and you know what?
Okay.
And,
she was
and
very scared of being on stage. She's one of the best voices we've had in our generation.
Absolutely, and they were giving her great songs too. She had great songs.
Great
She had a
songs.
great voice, but that stage fright is natural. That anxiety is real. And actually, now that we're talking about it, I did remember there was one time I was nervous during a show. It was so like I did this showcase in Manhattan. This has got to be like 2010, maybe 2009, and they were pitching it to be a television show. It was supposed to be like a hip hop American Idol.
Okay.
And so the format was, they called it Hip Hop Unplugged. So you would get up and you would perform one of your songs to someone else's beat, and then you perform one of your original songs to your own beat, but they had a band backing you up.
Oh, nice.
I actually went to an open mic like that, but go
and
ahead.
they had celebrity judges, so Sway, Lenny S, and EPMD and DJ Scratch, they were my judges.
Wow.
And so,
okay.
What a room.
And so I had just started practicing law. I was working in this law firm here in the city, and so like I wasn't doing as many shows at the time, and I didn't have my routine down as much as I'd like. And so I remember walking out on stage, and when those lights hit, and you look out in the audience, and Sway is 15 feet from me, and I'd never like seen Sway in person. And Lenny S is right there, and EPMD is right next to him, and then Scratch is there too. That I was nervous at first, and they could tell too, because that was actually one of the things Sway mentioned. He said I could tell you were nervous when you came out. He said you got to own the stage as soon as you get out. On here was part of his feedback. But
you bring up a good point though about preparation.
Yeah,
you knew that you weren't prepared.
Yeah, in hindsight,
you knew you could have been better prepared.
I could have been better prepared, and part of it, I'm working at a new firm, trying to.
You got other things going on.
Trying to make a good impression there. My wife was pregnant with our first child.
Major things going on.
So I had major commitments going on. So
right.
I didn't have the time that I would have liked to have committed to it, but I still should have pushed myself even more, because Sway. I mean, ultimately, it was a great opportunity because it showed me that I have something that the legends can respect. Because I got great feedback from all of them. Sway told me that the song that I performed was the most inspirational song he'd heard in the last 10 years.
Wow.
And then Lenny S looks at him and said, dude, like the last 10 years? And Sway said, well, name me another song then. No. Scratch said that. DJ Scratch said, that's the most inspirational song I've heard in the last 15 years. And then Lenny S said, for real, 15 years? That's high praise. And then Scratch said, well, name another one. And Lenny didn't say anything. And then Sway was like, man, like your lyrics, I could just listen to it in.
What's the name of this song?
It's called Have Plenty.
Where is it?
That's on Bandcamp. So if you go to timothywelbeck.bandcamp, I got an album called Shades of Grace. It's the first song on there.
Shades of Grace?
Shades of Grace.
And the song is called Have Plenty.
The song is called Have Plenty.
Like the movie.
Yeah. That was part of the inspiration for it. But it has have with an E because it's like the word, not the woman,
not the name.
All right, that's dope. We're gonna take this.
Movies ever.
We're gonna take this break real quick. Jump back into this conversation.
Absolutely.
It's 98.5 Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio.
You're listening to community radio at its best. Uptown Radio, WJYN, 98.5 FM, serving Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The opinions of this program are not the opinions of the station management or the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. I am Sipping with Sammy, Sam Malone, Barstool Rube. Big Cuz is still in here with us. Tifius Maximus is in here with us. And we got a great guest tonight, Timothy Welbeck.
I am here. I am here.
He is definitely here. He's been kicking it with us all night, man, enjoying and learning a lot about each other.
Yeah, man.
He got us
dope.
comparing notes in here, man.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah, we were just talking about that showcase.
Right.
Yeah, but just to wrap up that story,
Mm-hmm.
it was a great experience for me because I got great feedback. Sway had great things to say about the song. EPMD, both Eric and Parrish had great things to say. Scratch had great things to say. Lenny was like, that's a good song too.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though they also had constructive feedback, like, you know, you need to be more confident the moment you step on the stage.
But obviously you build up to it.
Yeah, so
at some point
I was able to win their
owned
respect.
it.
And so even though I didn't win that night, it was another MC that won that night. And then, so basically what happened, I think it was 5 of us competing that night, and one of the kids was one of them prodigies. He was like 14 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
And so he won, but he was actually good. I mean, they didn't just pick him because he was a kid, but he was really dope. And so he won. Okay. And then there was another guy who was just as good, but the fact that it was a 14-year-old
versus
rocking with all
right.
of us, so it was 1 and 1A with basically that. He was kind of like Astro.
Right.
So
all right.
I know what you mean. Now, Teef, you know how I knew that he got good feedback from that showcase?
How's that?
Because he told the story. Nah, I'm just picking with you. We ain't know nothing about it. We ain't have to either.
It was a good story.
It was a great story. No,
but we were talking about stage fright.
Stage fright,
so
and that was the most memorable. But it actually was a good situation, even though it started that way.
I still wanted to win, but the dudes that won that night, they deserved to win. I wasn't as prepared as they were. It still ended up being good. Like I said, I got good feedback. Learned
Kids
from
and
it.
adults, man, preparation, man.
Absolutely.
And you never know when you go into certain situations. People remember things like the most inspirational song they heard in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Like when they see you, they'll remember that you did that.
Yeah.
You know what I
and
mean?
it's a DJ that said it. Like he went and found that joint.
He knows everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, that's a moment. That's major.
Yeah.
So that's definitely dope.
And Amanda Seals was hosting back then.
Amanda.
Yeah, but she went by Amanda Diva back then.
I know.
Yeah, that's right.
I
so like all these
Diva days.
You've lectured. I'm looking at this list of colleges. You lectured at 6 colleges. Magdalen College of Oxford, Georgetown University, Villanova, Temple, University of California, Northridge. You have all these things going on. What is it? Because this is it's a talk show. We talk hip hop.
Yeah.
You have all these things going on.
Yeah.
I feel like I know the answer, maybe, but what is it that keeps you going with the music part? Because, it's not like it doesn't seem like you need it. You need to have that something you have to do. You know what I'm saying?
Time consuming and expensive. Sometimes.
So what is it about the music that keeps you going?
I think the simplest answer is that I love the music, I love the culture, and I love to be a part of the culture. So for me, and the fact that, early on, I was asked, which one did I start with first in terms of the list, and rapping was the thing I started with first too. So it's the one that's been with me the longest. It's the one that I love all of them, but I think it's my love for the culture and just how I came of age during my formative years growing with hip hop when it was at one of its most beautiful stages too.
Yeah.
And so it was a dynamic culture to be a part of, to see some of all-time greats coming into their prime and making some of their greatest music at the time that I'm just being introduced to the culture, and then coming in and trying my hand at it too. And then beyond that too. So I think that's the first reason, but I think the larger reason is that I've seen the power of music to influence people. I often tell people that hip hop and my old car have a lot in common. They both make a lot of noise and they're both vehicles.
Hold on. Time out. Because I was just about to say that. I said it's funny. I'm thinking it's funny listening to you talk about hip hop and about activism and about being an attorney, because he speaks about it as if he's referring to different kids or different cars. Like, because he literally said, well, this is the one that's been with me the longest. And it's funny, like, when you really listen to it. And then he says, it's like my old car. And I'm like, I just was about to say that. I didn't want to cut you off. That's funny because that's literally how you speak about him.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's it's just a part of me. I never thought about it like that. But what I'm saying with the analogy is that they both make a lot of noise and they're both vehicles.
Right.
And so every time you turn on someone's music, they're taking you for a ride. And I've seen people hear music and say, this has changed my life. I've seen people say, this music has helped me through my most difficult times. I've seen people say, this music has changed my opinion on something. And so the fact that music has that ability, and particularly, there are people who may not be willing to sit in a class or listen to me do a guest lecture who will listen to a song. Mm-hmm. Or there are people who may not get the benefit of my activism or may not see me in a courtroom, but will listen to a song. And so there's this universal appeal to music too, that for me is just a driving force, that I want my music to be a beacon of a light that can show people the world as it is in the world as it should be.
And let's shout out hip hop, because hip hop has caused more progression in this world than any other force.
Yo, that was like one of the main ways I learned Black history. I had some good teachers. Shout out to Coach Belford. You know what I mean? We had a regular history class. We would just watch Black history stuff every class. He was teaching us Black history.
Because it was necessary.
And we would skim over the U.S. history, and he would dig right back in. Because I had a predominantly Black high school.
Is U.S. history.
Yeah.
No,
but I appreciate what he was doing.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay, Black history is world history.
This is true.
Because we had a predominantly Black high school, and he's like, y'all, I know what y'all need to know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just see that you going into it, and you don't seem like you're concerned about getting on or making it. Because I mean, that's the kind of saying. I'm 38. I just started rapping since I was 35.
Oh wow!
I couldn't bring myself to.
He's
say
one of my favorite
things.
MCs, by the way.
Because I was gonna say, like, having heard your music, I thought you was rapping much longer than that.
No. I mean, I always freestyle stuff, but I never told nobody, hey, I rhyme. Hey, let me get on the show. Hey, I never did none of that because I didn't feel like nah, they ain't gonna like it. I'm gonna just do it. As long as I say it's for fun, you know, it's no pressure. You know what I'm saying?
Like most great artists. You know how that goes, man.
But I think that's dope that you use your gift as a vehicle to help other people, because I'm kind of on that same wave. You know what I mean? Like, I like certain music, but I can't say those things myself. I try to be conscious of what I'm putting out there when I'm in front of other people, because I don't know how it's going to influence them. You know
he talking about the stuff I say. It's like, no.
I mean, no disrespect, because I rock your music, but you know, I'm an adult. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, like, I'm a father at this time. Like, what if my kid hears my song 5 years later, asks me why I said that? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So, but you know, I think it's vital. Like you said, it is a vehicle, and it does help people get out of situations, because we all got songs that touch us in a certain way.
Absolutely.
It's like, yo, this song
and
reminds me of
different
this
kinds
time.
of songs for that. Yeah.
And I'm similar too. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I have 3 children, and I think about those roles even as I go into my music too. I want my music to contribute to making the world a better place for my wife or my children.
Yeah.
So I think about those things as I'm making music, and even how can I communicate my role as a husband and a father in some of the music that I'm
through
making.
music, right?
So in my last album, I have a song called May You Ever, and in the second verse I tell my daughters about the women I want them to grow to be. And I have another song called Of Monuments of Men, and I talk to my son in the last verse about me holding a crown that I want him to grow tall enough to wear, and just me training him to be the man he should be. So I think about that too. Just we are men, we're adults, and I say all the time, I make music for grown-ups, and so there's room for mindless exuberance for the littles and the youngs to like make party music, and like that's what they want to do.
We spoke to earlier.
Yeah, that's not for me. They're not making music for me, and so when I came to grips with that, I had less problems with it.
Right. I feel the same way, bro. Because I was like, what am I gonna rap about? I'm too old to be getting in the game right now. I can't. You know what I mean? I'm old. I'm to a 20-year-old. I'm old. Well, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, but there's still people who we listen to the same stuff. So I know they're going to rock on my stuff.
And we expect the same things.
Yeah,
I mean, even with me, even though I'm considered wild a lot of the times musically, I have certain lines that I figured out a long time ago I wasn't going to cross, because we are from a city where we know what the murder rate is, and we know what the intake rate is.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I could speak to on record that I refuse to just get caught up in. And I don't want to play certain rooms either. I'd rather be in a certain environment when I do shows also. I want my music to translate to a certain crowd so that when I show up, I have a good time time. Also.
Yeah, your words are powerful. You start.
I want to have fun too.
Cats be talking rah-rah because they think that's what they supposed to say, and then they end up attracting that rah-rah right to them, and they
you can't escape it. You
like,
got to do it 4 nights a week after.
Yo, people out there, y'all ain't got to rap what everybody else is rapping about. You can rap about whatever you want to rap about. You want to rap about playing kickball with your cousins, then rap about
somebody
playing kickball
else
with
is
your
playing
cousins.
kickball with their cousins too, and it's a million of them. Trust me.
Yeah.
I saw a dude fill up TLA rapping about comic books 5 years ago. May have been 4 or 5 years. Somewhere like he filled up TLA rapping about comic books.
Who's this? You remember his name?
I don't remember. I'll find out his name because my boy opened for him. I'd never.
Oh, Mega Ran.
I don't remember the dude's name. I would know him if I saw him.
Look,
he's like
Steve knowing.
Steve
said I got the head from
but
him.
I know, you know what I mean?
He's like 5'5", maybe 5'6".
Oh no, that's different.
And
Mega Ran is taller than that.
Yeah.
And he was this little guy rapping about comic books.
And he filled the room up at the TLA.
He filled up the TLA, and they knew every word. And that blew my mind.
What's that, 1,100 people? TLA?
Something like that.
You know what's funny about what we were talking about being grown and being adults and having families and things like that, and the music we make, is that I'm really enjoying my 40-something rappers right now, and that's putting out music, man.
And I'm cool
and
with
the
it,
grown
bro.
man
I'm
message,
cool with it.
I'm loving it, man.
Yeah. Because we can relate.
We get it.
Yeah.
But we'll get back into that and some more things that's most slept on or most
y'all
slept
gotta
on
pay
radio.
bills, man.
Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Linda Richardson, president of the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation. The Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation is a nonprofit, tax-exempt organization and is the owner of the historic Uptown Theater and WJYN 98.5 FM. The restoration of the Uptown Theater into a multimedia tech center needs your help. We are requesting donations to restore the Uptown Theater to preserve R&B history and renovate the theater into a performing arts venue. For more information, call 215-236-1878 or visit philadelphiauptowntheater.org and make an online donation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
Radio, most slept on radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. It is now 8:30 on a Diz Knot, and we are still in the Spiz Knot. Where is his knot? And where you is not. You should have been here.
On the road.
Hey, man, you know, I go when I get how I'm going. But no, man, we still got Timothy Welbeck in the Situation Room, and we still got my favorite X-Man, Latifius Maximus.
I want to stretch out what we was talking about over this quick break about how there's a type of music for every person, type of hip hop. There is a type of hip hop for every person. I feel like hip hop has gotten so big. There's
and
all
you know what
types
that means, right? That means if you out here talking about that you're upset at the state that hip hop and rap music is in, that it's your fault because you're not looking for your brand.
You're not
of
looking
music.
for your
I tell
kind
my
of
students
music.
that all the time, that to stop complaining about what they don't want to see and support what they do want to see, because most likely it's already there.
Yeah.
And so support what's there, and to the extent it's not there, create it. Because most of their favorite artists began somewhere. But there's
who would have ever knew a J. Cole could be a J. Cole rapping about what J. Cole rapped about when he came out, being a college kid. And, like, who would have ever knew? Somebody had to do it. The backpackers and the college kids needed somebody to relate to.
That was
everybody owes
cats
Sally
like
Mae.
that were inspiring to me, because I'm like, oh, he's not talking about nothing reckless, because I'm not a reckless dude. Everybody knows me. Everybody knows I'm real cool and I'm real chill. And I'm not just gonna come
We're
on
the
mic
radio, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
talking about you know what I mean, this and that, just because everybody else is talking about it. You know what I mean?
No,
and you see a lot of young boys, and you know the young boy, and then he says he can rap, and you ask him to rap. Like, young
35
boy,
grenades, 150 handguns.
Where this come from? Like,
and everybody's scared of it.
I know your pops. Like, what you doing
and the crazy thing is, it's not like people can't grow, evolve, and change and do whatever. But one thing about music that gets away from a lot of people, especially when you refer to hip hop, and it shouldn't anymore because we see how big it is that it's art. You should never perform any version of art without doing the version that's true to yourself. If you can't be comfortable with what that output is, if that's not representative of what goes on in your head, when you to the point that you don't have to fight for it, it just regurgitates. Is what goes on the canvas, so to speak.
Yeah.
Then you shouldn't be doing it. It's not the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's people there's a vein for everybody. I like a lot of different artists, but you know why I get to like a lot of different artists? Because at different points of times of the day, I want to hear different things.
Yeah, you in different moods.
It might be soft, it might be extremely rough, it might be whatever, but at the same time, that's what music is for, because it's art. It's for moods, it's for settings. I can't imagine, could you imagine a world without music?
I don't want to.
Could you imagine moving through life without a soundtrack?
So how do you you say you work with a lot of youth.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about music that you feel like was the most successful way for you to reach a youth? Like, what exactly was it? Was it freestyle with them one-on-one? Was it them seeing you perform? Was it you talking about yourself and then rapping? Because I'm sure.
Was it somebody that went home, did their homework, and came back like, "Yo, I listened to you all night"?
Yeah, like, what do you think? What do you think has been the most? Has there been an effective way, or what has stood out to you with your experience with the youth?
Great question.
What I've seen most consistently in the classes I teach at Temple is that the students are moved by seeing how this culture that they participate in, the music they listen to in their leisure, is more powerful than they anticipated that it would be. Because we spend 15 weeks examining it, and we talk about hip hop evolving from other African-derived aesthetics, and then we talk about hip hop evolving from other forms of black music in America. Then we talk about hip hop history, and then we talk about hip hop being a microcosm of the black experience. So we'll talk about hip hop and cultural appropriation, hip hop and spirituality, hip hop's portrayal of women, hip hop's response to police brutality.
Dope.
And by the time we get there, they're like, this is a whole world.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Because hip hop is not a music; it's a culture.
And so
it's all inclusive.
It certainly is. And by the time they realize that, and we've talked to some of the more pressing issues of the day, and we've used hip hop as a launching pad into that. I have students coming up to me sometimes at the end of the semester crying about just how impactful the semester was. And for me, it's about building to get to that place. And so we use hip hop as a means, like I said before, to take you on this ride, to get you so you can see clearly.
I want to sit in one day, man.
I wish I had.
Can I sit in on a lecture one day?
Y'all come in whenever you want to.
So what's the name of this course?
It's called Hip Hop and Black Culture. We got a session tomorrow. I teach a class 11 to 12:20, and then I teach a class from 12:30 to 1:50 every Tuesday and Thursday. And then starting on the 27th, I'll teach another hip hop class, No City for Young Men. I'll teach that in the evenings from 5:30 to 8 on Thursdays.
I can catch that one.
Okay.
On what? Wait, what day?
It's Thursday.
Thursday. Okay. Yeah.
I got a question as for like, what are some of the projects that you have your students doing for the semester?
That's a great question. So we do.
That was Big Cuz, by the way.
I do 3 types of evaluations. So the first one, I call it a soundtrack, and so I'll give them a question that requires them to analyze a song that I ask them to listen to, and they have to synthesize their understanding of the reading and analyzing the question. So I'll give you an example. So the one that's due for them this week, there are 2 questions that are happening in front of them. So the first question is it's centered on what is hip hop. So there's a Hypnotic Brass Ensemble song, and it's called Balakiban. It's from their album Jupiter.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, Hypnotic Brass Ensemble, they're a brass band based in New York, and they classify all their music as hip hop. Most people who hear them say it's jazz, and I say, well, is this hip hop? They say it's hip hop. If it is, why? And we've done about 4 or 5 readings up to this point, and so most students fall into reflexively saying, you got to have rapping. There's no rapping. It's not hip hop. And then my counter to that is hip hop music absolutely can exist in the absence of rapping. That's how we know when a J Dilla beat comes on that's hip hop.
Right.
Or Ninth Wonder,
Absolutely.
you know that's hip hop. So what
Rest
is it
in
about
peace, Dilla.
hip hop? Yeah, rest in peace, Dilla. So what is it about hip hop that we know it can exist even when the most identifiable form of its music is not there? So I push them to the
I'm enrolling.
And then the next question. So we've been talking about West African musical expressions, and so what I did was I had them listen to Judy Collins sing "Amazing Grace," and then I had them listen to Aretha Franklin sing "Amazing Grace." And these women are singing the same
It's a great
words,
social experiment.
but it sounds like completely different songs.
They are.
Judy Collins sings 4 verses and the chorus in 4 minutes and 12 seconds. She sings first verse, chorus, second verse, chorus, third verse, chorus, fourth verse, chorus, 4 minutes and 12 seconds.
Okay.
At 4 minutes and 12 seconds, Aretha Franklin is still at the first verse.
Yep.
Getting it.
Because, like,
Yeah.
she hasn't even said a
Yep.
word before 30 seconds
Before-
have hit. She's just humming. The organist is behind her. Can I get an
It's
amen? 'Cause she's in
building.
a church. She's building. And so, so at a minute and a half, she's still in the middle of the first verse. And so she's bending notes. She's doing these runs. She's going in and out.
It's a lot of runs.
And the church is behind her. People are screaming hallelujah. All of this is happening. And I said, we've talked about this though. We've talked about how West African cultural expression has constant features like collective participation. The African performer performs with the audience, not for the audience. We've talked about the idea of improvisation. African music has improvisation. You create in a moment.
Did we talk about how there were elders that only spoke when drums were playing?
We talk about that too.
Did we talk about that? Because that's what they used to compare. I heard an OG of mine compare Biggie to that. Like his vocal tone and his inflection, and how like when Big spoke, you listened.
Yeah.
Like there were people that didn't speak till the drums played.
Absolutely.
Like they don't say nothing all month till the drums come out. But that's where you got your history from.
That shows you the power, and those are the
I didn't know
griots,
that.
and that shows you the power of music, because the griots were entrusted with the idea of passing on the oral tradition of the history of the people group, of the nation, and many times they could have centuries worth of information that they had committed to memory, and oftentimes they would do this to the beat of a drum. So oftentimes these words
Fire,
rhyme.
dancers,
And it's easy to remember. You might not have heard a song in 10 years, but as soon as it come on, you'll know every word of it.
Well, that's what makes music so great and so dangerous. Because I had I went to Vacation Bible School when I was a kid.
Vacation Bible School.
We all know it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I had a teacher that was a Christian rapper.
Okay,
And
what's his
he,
name?
I forget his name, and he was dope too. He was dope, and they kind of had a Gravediggers kind of sound, but it was Christian rap, so it was like hard. Like I used to listen to
Oh,
it.
it was rocking.
Yeah, it was rocking.
Wasn't
Like
nothing soft
they
and sweet,
production was
yeah.
good, but they was talking, because words is words, energy is energy. It's what you say. You know what I mean? It all makes the difference. It's not that you can't do that beat because you're not from that energy. No, say what you want over that beat.
Yeah.
And it was dope. But he said like it's a reason, and this was back in the day before we got so developed. But it's a reason that back in the day there was music in all of porn. It made it easier to digest than it just hearing the alternative at that time. Like when you're trying to ease things into people,
That
when
sound
you
like
trying
Fanatic would have said that.
it's a lot of things that is just it's music behind it for a reason. Like even now we're talking on radio, we're having a great conversation, but having that nice little undertone in the background make it easier to listen to, which might make it easier to listen to again
And again. And again.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what's so.
Y'all listen to this again and again.
Please
and again.
do all of our interviews, because we have the most slept on guests, as we tell y'all every week, and as Timothy is proving right now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But at the end of the day, like that's why music is so powerful and so dangerous at the same time, and that's why I think it's dope that everything that you said you still had hip hop with you, but it progressed with you. And your delivery has got you to the point where now you're breaking it down for generations.
Yeah, that's for me. That's
amazing.
That's and I tell people often, teaching this class is a literal answer to prayer. It's something that I wanted to do, and it's something that I didn't think would happen until maybe I was like in my 40s, or maybe like I'd have a bunch of platinum plaques on the wall. This is what I was imagining. It's like, I get a bunch of platinum plaques, and then somebody calls and say, hey, will you teach this class? That's what I was thinking.
We'll give you an honorary.
That's how I was thinking.
Like KRS-One doing like. Yeah.
It's a lot of them. Yeah.
I mean, Ninth Wonder teaches at 3 universities right now.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
He's a Nas fellow at Harvard. He teaches at Duke, and I think he teaches at A&T.
Scarface teaches at a few universities, and I think Bun B.
Is at Rice. He teaches. He teaches with another professor there. They do a joint class together.
Killer Mike.
Yeah, Killer Mike has done a lot of.
I'm a big fan of him as a human being.
You gotta love Killer Mike.
Yeah. Michael Render is that man.
He's that guy.
He is that man.
I stopped. When I was talking about the trip to Mexico, I happened to have an 8-hour layover, but it was A3C weekend. I was like, this is perfect.
Oh.
So I got off the plane, called an Uber, and I had my CDs out, and I was just networking. And I was like, I need to cut. And I went to the swag shop.
To his barbershop?
I didn't know. I was like, oh, the swag shop. This okay.
No,
and it was mad love in there. Like people was cool, wasn't crowded, so I got a cut and I forget her name. Man, I gotta shout her out.
She gonna smack
She
you
hooked my
around.
beard up, and we was talking. I was like, just talking about hip hop, and she's like, yeah, this Killer Mike shop. I'm like, I almost messed up my cut, like for real.
And Kay, you know how I know she gonna smack him around? Cause he's still in contact with her. She on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah, she's probably gonna see this and cut my head off, but.
No, cause Tifa's a network is warrior.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it was. You know what I mean? It was. Yeah.
I know he didn't.
I'm a fan of Killer Mike. He does a lot of good things. You know what I mean? I know he reps the area you're familiar with. You
Absolutely.
Know what I'm saying? He's the reason got me getting accounted at Black Bank. He made me think about that. He made me think about it. He said $25 a week ain't a lot of money to put away just to put in the black, and it's not.
Well, do you cover that with your activism?
We talk
with
about
your mentorship.
We talk about all of those types of things, and so and I tell my students, particularly like when I get a chance to like do like keynotes and stuff like that, I tell them just that idea, this idea that you should be supporting your own. We should be building up the infrastructure of our community. That's one of the ways you can do it. So I gave the keynote at the NAACP annual gala at Temple earlier this year, and I told them the United Bank has a branch walking distance from here.
Yep, that's what I got.
Absolutely.
And go set up an account there. And I told the NAACP, if you don't have your operating account there, you need to change that.
Right.
And then even beyond that, stop supporting people.
United was the first black national bank.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I believe.
I didn't know that.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was.
It makes sense. I mean, Philadelphia is a home of pioneers. The AME Church was founded here, so
we were the original capital.
Yes,
by the way,
the original capital of the United States.
I don't know if y'all knew that.
I did know. Constitution drafted and ratified here. All of that.
Say that.
Shout out to Richard Allen.
See, we telling y'all more Most Slept On info, Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM, and we'll be back in a second, man. We're gonna get to some tunes first, though, and then we'll be back with a couple more things, and we're gonna wrap this thing up with Timothy Welbeck.
You're listening to community radio at its best. Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM, serving Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The opinions of this program are not the opinions of the station management or the Uptown Entertainment and Development Corporation.
And now, back to the Most Slept On Radio Show with your host, Sam Malone, Sipping with Sammy, broadcasting live from the Uptown Theater.
With the genes to do it. Delete the stress it's not a mess when you two step into it. With no illusion, baby girl is Betty Cooper to it. That's a movement of a unit, yes indeed we do it. Something to splash in the glass and relax with the staff. The extra hours paid off, now we know to have. Got something sour, something soft, and something sweet to have. Feeling generous and free, making people mad. Contemplating solutions, I have no time for stupid. Reality has given me ability to last. Make advancements with my equals, we all on the path. Keep fiction out the music, can't help but do it. I'm a musician with a dash of pimping, pulpitting, written or unwritten. It doesn't make any difference. Half Muslim, half Christian, we winning with a
when we ride, breaking up the rules, but we do what you like, and it's so fly, it's so right, and I'm gonna be alright, so you gonna be alright, yeah, 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 yeah.
Philadelphia, stand up. Y'all ready? I hope so.
If I say it, then I mean it. Unapologetic, I ain't giving them no reason. Misleading our people, tired of us being mistreated. Here we standing up, we refuse to be defeated.
I'm the breaking news that interrupts the TV show. Brutal honesty, I feed them what they need to know. Congress out of pocket, these crooked judges need to go. Zimmerman chillin', but they still ain't free Mumia though. Devils around us, I'm thinking more Killmonger, less T'Challa, transgressing on the power. Hella black, hella proud, RBG, call police. Too late to relax, these racist actions is what started me. Government target me, monkey what they calling me. Only brother came on Fed thing, nothing started me. I'm thinking, what would Mike Brown and Trey Martin be? First Eric Garner, then his daughter, it ain't hard to see. Time to bend the rules, many times we've been accused. Take it back to Osage in the 80s, we will not be moved. Something gotta give, Huey P and Bobby Liz. Suckers know what time it is, wasn't loaded, now it is.
If I say it, then I mean it. Unapologetic, I ain't giving them no reason. Misleading our people, tired of us being mistreated. Here we standing up, we refuse to be defeated.
Yeah, you scared of them white folks? Take a life, but only if they take one. I bet you want a white wife with a white picket fence. They tell kids to mince meat. You love gang violence, but you run from them white sheets. You love hell demons. I'm God on the South Beach. We more like Lil Haiti, man. You looking like you South Beach. Blow the wall, free meat. They blew up John Africa. If they get me, I'm send my ashes back to Africa. You spit, we laugh at ya. 7 slugs after ya. Talk. Boy, you're pissing through a catheter. The black can, y'all, sawed off in my hand. Drop back in the shotgun. Bam, 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 bam. Drop back in the shotgun. Bam, 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 bam.
Tell whoever got an issue with us, we don't give a damn.
If I say it, then I mean it. Unapologetic, I ain't giving them no reason. Misleading our people, tired of us being mistreated. Here we standing up, we refuse to be defeated.
We got a lame in office. On another note, few labels making me offers, but make a way regardless. No breaking, only us we take is on market. Underdogs run the yard, we playing the hardest. Look, it's time to get on my bully, been too lenient. Something superb, you subpar to disagree with it. Love is just a word, no telling who's meaning it. My runners deserve the definition of leadership. Forever solid, never seen as a hater. Meanwhile, these clowns keep my name in everything but a prayer. Concentrate on everything but some paper. Why they bitter? Any whack opinion that's against is not considered. I'm like, what's the problem? I'm just honest when I speak. Never stopping, I'm trying like Jeremiah and Tariq. To speak, you're not qualified. The shift is now arrived. Had to add my 2 cents, I won't apologize.
If I say it, then I mean it. Unapologetic, I ain't giving them no reason. Misleading our people, tired of us being mistreated. Here we standing up, we refuse to be defeated. If I say it, then I mean it. Unapologetic, I ain't never gonna delete it. Release us from this pain, we refuse to be defeated. If we ain't standing up, they ain't never gonna see it.
Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM. And shout out to the homie Del P and David Banner, man.
Song.
We are all definitely unapologetic, and we mean it.
Yeah, here we go.
And we mean it. Especially with the guests we got today. What's up, bro?
Quick announcement, restoration of the Uptown Theater. This
Word.
is kind of why we're here.
Absolutely.
The legendary Uptown Theater is in need of assistance for restoration. If you would like to help out, contact us at info@mostslepton.com. If you got any fresh tracks you want to send, fresh, clean tracks, send them to newmusic@mostslepton.com.
Clean.
And I am Latifius Maximus III. Tyler on the right. I don't get to do this, so I'm going to do it. Sam Malone across the way. Tim Welbeck across from me.
Building.
Big cousin the cut. KK
What up, cousin?
KK!
KK the bell. Happy birthday, KK.
Happy birthday.
The logo and the mean po. My guy. No, but and it's crazy because I've been having a great time and we still got more networking and hanging out to do tonight, man.
Yeah.
And we all said we pulling up on Tim. We gotta see the knowledge he dropping on
y'all
these
come
children,
through.
man.
Y'all come through.
Because what you talking about is something that all ages can learn from, which college should be.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be recycled, which you just went over for the last 12 years.
Exactly.
Which a lot of courses wind up being. Or extensions of such that, could have been grasped a different way. But you're talking about working different avenues to get something across that I believe in.
Thank you.
I just wanted you to shout out your any contact information and all that,
Yeah, thank you. So I have a website. My website is timothywelbeck.com. Welbeck is spelled Welbeck.
Yep.
There you can find my bio. You can find where I've been mentioned in the press. You can see where I've spoken. You can get links to my music. You can see my videos.
You can see his other 3 jobs where you talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see mention of my law practice. So all of that's there. And so my album No City for Young Men is on all streaming sites. Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, all of that.
I'll follow you right now. No City for Young Men.
No City for Young Men. Thank you. And then I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of that's Timothy Welbeck. It's just my name. And so I'm easy to find. You can contact me via my website. You can contact me via social media. All of that's there.
All right. Well, I want to say something, man. I want y'all to support this brother because, as far as I've heard, this is somebody that I've been needing to meet for a long time, and I believe in a lot of the things that you have going on, and I appreciate a lot of things that you're doing because what people don't realize is just because someone else is involved in it and it's their profession and it's what they do, a lot of the times they're doing it for all of us. Mentoring affects all of us. If these kids have somewhere to look up to, then they're not posted in front of your house causing a disturbance. There's no problem with them being outside, but I mean being problems outside. They have other things to do, other places to go, and other endeavors and goals and people to talk to get there. And that's important. The things he's doing in those lecture halls at the university, that's about our culture. That's something that we're trying to tell people. That's something that we're trying to get through to the mainstream and explain to people the roots of where it comes from and how beneficial it is to society and not just our immediate surroundings. And I think the angles that you take for that are very intrusive, and it shows that you've done your homework and you didn't just say, let me just make a rap class. Because that's what a lot of places
in there
do.
Changing the world.
It's like the Black History class nowadays. They make it fake rap classes. You know what I mean? So when the curriculum is as such as what we were just talking about with this gentleman, then you got to appreciate that. So I just want to say thank you, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you tonight. I didn't interview you. You hosted with us, and we had a great time with you, bro.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity to come on and host with you guys, have real conversations with you guys. I appreciate what you all are doing, too. We need authentic voices in the culture who celebrate the unsung and keep the vibrance of the culture alive.
Absolutely.
I mean, hip hop started in a room smaller than this.
Yep.
And now it's
way more people in it too.
Yeah, and now they filled up that room. But now we get to have careers and participate in this culture and to change the perception of not only ourselves but the participants of the culture and the communities that they come from, and empower others with this. And you all are a huge part of that. So I appreciate y'all bringing me on, letting me be a part of that.
And I think that's the perfect way to end the show. I want to say one more thing before T speaks. anything you need from us, you need our support, you need us to come speak, because we well spoken.
Oh, okay.
Anything that you need, we're available. Let us know, support wise, and that's on behalf of Most Slept On Radio. That's the Philly Freedom Project. That's Flyboy Radio. That's Glockaware Radio. That's everything that we have going on. Whatever you need, if you ever need to talk, get some information out there, you need support or to round up some people, let us know, man, and let us help our network help your network.
Thank you. And likewise, if I can help with what y'all doing over here, let me know.
Absolutely.
There'll be more. We still got the 10,000 basketball campaign going on.
Okay.
Started by Big Cuz over here. The goal is to give 10,000 basketballs. Cuz, you want to chime in on that real quick?
I mean, if you're interested in giving basketballs, one basketball can keep 10 teenagers plus busy for an evening. So what would 10,000 basketballs do? You can just go to GoFundMe.com, which definitely monopolized the charitable contribution sites anyway. Hashtag 10,000 basketballs.
And I'm explaining to Brother Welbeck, we just gave out 300.
Wow.
Yeah,
about a month ago.
Working,
we grabbed 300, gave out 300 within 2 weeks.
Man, that's amazing.
So we just said 10 plus, right?
That's amazing.
10 plus kids per ball. So we trying to fight the good fight with you, brother. So just let us know.
When one of these kids goes to the league, they can come back and say, "Y'all help me get on my way."
I mean, I don't even care if they know, as long as they good, man.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing. Just the way you all put it, because so much of people say that the devil's playground are idle hands.
Yeah.
So giving the youth something constructive that they could do in their free time and divert them from some of the perils of the streets, man, that's huge.
Yeah. Every little bit counts, man. You keep their mind off, because you don't know how somebody's coming up in their house. You keep somebody's mind off of that, you give them something else to get into. We saving lives out here.
Yeah. Good distractions.
You're saving lives your way, you're saving lives your way, you're saving lives. Like, we all do something.
Yeah. And you know what? So, I appreciate and I love all of y'all for it.
Likewise.
But it's been Most Slept On Radio, Uptown Radio, WJYN 98.5 FM, and we be back at y'all next Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. Catch me tomorrow, Flyboy Radio, Friday, Glockaware Radio, Flyboy Radio, 4 to 6
Flyboy
p.m.
Friday.
You already know, the best happy hour in the city, man. We do what we do, man.
That's excellent.
All you have to do is listen.
Breaking in the new, shattering the past. My failures get broken with the glass. Weaker than a limb, fresh open from the cast. Meeker than a smurf, climbing a giraffe. Doc Brown, give me a portal to the past, so I can rewrite the script in which I was cast. Straight ip kiss, looking for a mask to conceal the havoc released by my rap. Slash Hipachi Saraki, the battle inside. Rambo versus Rocky, the same person but different character. Do you navigate exactly where I'm taking ya? Across the oceans of my soul, globe of my whole, to decrypt the purpose of my role. The checks on the list of my goal, not to judge me till I die or grow old. So do I shine as a sun, or shine like the moon, or become the eclipse in the glance is your doom? Been taking chances is how I was groomed. Flesh and focus like a damn typhoon. The light, the dark, the yin, the yang. To balance ourselves, we must balance these things. Feel as a king, feel as a peasant. I'm linked to my past, future and present. Mind clouded as a nimbus, darker than a Guinness. Odds against me from the start to the finish. Never do I end it, current out the window with a descent so gentle, suicide tempo. Do you understand now how we are blended? The morning and the evening, you must be friended to make your soul kindred. You will bend it, and those that can't, unfortunately, end it.
You know how to fly this thing? A little late to ask that question, isn't it? Okay, it's all right.